The office clock ticked toward 7 in the evening, but inside the building, it still felt like rush hour. Phones buzzed, keyboards clattered, and tired eyes scanned endless screens. At his corner desk sat Ethan Carter, a man in his 30s, ambitious, dedicated, but completely drained. His tie was loose, his posture slumped, and his mind scattered between numbers on a spreadsheet that made less sense by the minute. Just then, his phone lit up with that dreaded warning, battery at 10%. Ethan chuckled softly. Yeah, buddy, me too. In that moment, the tiny red bar on his phone wasn't just a symbol for low power, it was a mirror. His own energy, running dangerously low. But life, as always, didn't slow down for anyone. His boss dropped a thick folder on his desk. I need this report done by tomorrow morning. Big meeting with the board. Tomorrow morning. Less than 12 hours away. Ethan sighed. He wasn't sure if he was more worried about his phone dying, or about himself collapsing before midnight. And here's the irony. Every day, Ethan made sure his phone was charged. He plugged it in overnight. Carried a portable charger. Panicked when it dipped below 5%. Yet for himself? No charging. No pause. No rest. He was running on fumes, but pretending he could sprint forever. We panic when our phone is low on charge. But when we're low on charge, we keep pushing. Ignoring the warning signs. Forgetting that, just like our devices, we were made to recharge too. Ethan looked around the office. Everyone seemed the same at surviving on caffeine, microwaving their third cup of coffee, chewing stale pizza, typing with heavy eyes. Nobody was at 100%. Nobody had been for a long time. So, Ethan did something small, but powerful. He shut his laptop. He slipped his nearly dead phone into his pocket. He grabbed his coat and stepped out into the cool New York night. For the first time in weeks, he thought, maybe it's me that needs charging first. And as he walked toward the warm glow of a nearby coffee shop, he had no idea that this single step, this decision to walk away at 9%, would be the very beginning of his full recharge. Ethan stepped inside the cafe, the world shifted. Gone was the sterile buzz of the office. Here, the air carried the smell of coffee, fresh pastries, and human connection. He dropped into a chair near the window, feeling, for the first time all day, that it was okay to just breathe. The barista smiled at him. Rough day? Ethan smirked. You could say that. Triple espresso, the barista teased. Or should I just hook you up to the outlet like your phone? Ethan laughed, because it was true. That's exactly what he needed. A charger. Not just for his phone, but for himself. As he waited, Ethan looked around. A college kid drowning in textbooks and energy drinks. A mom juggling a toddler and a phone, fighting to stay afloat. An older man in the corner, calm, sipping tea, lost in a book. Each of them recharging in their own way. Some fast charging. Some slow. Some not charging at all. And Ethan realized, we're all batteries. Some of us burn out quickly. Some stretch our charge. And some actually know how to recharge the right way. When his coffee arrived, Ethan held it like a lifeline. The warmth filled his hands, then his chest, then his mind. And as he sipped, he thought of his phone again. Always obedient. Always ready to power back up when plugged in. No excuses. Why was it so hard for him to do the same? He watched a woman rush out the door, her phone blinking low battery, her voice snapping, not now. Ethan almost laughed. Because that was him too. Always running until the warning flashes red. The truth hit him, most of us don't stop until we're forced to. Until the screen goes black. But sitting there, in that little cafe, Ethan made a quiet promise, I won't keep living at 10%. I need to find a way to recharge for real.
As Ethan sat there in the cafe, his mind drifted back. Not to the office. Not to deadlines. But to a time when his life felt full. College. 19 years old. A cracked basketball court. A beat-up dorm room. Endless nights. Endless laughter. endless energy. He didn't know what burnout was back then. Didn't measure his days in percentages. Didn't panic about running out of charge. Because he was always at 100. Friday nights meant late basketball games, sneakers squeaking, laughter echoing into the night sky. Saturday mornings meant spontaneous road trips, 3 friends stuffed into an old Honda, chasing the horizon with nothing but music and freedom. And those all-nighters. Some were for exams. But most, for a living. Eating cold pizza, arguing about superheroes, laughing until the sun came up. Back then, Ethan didn't even realize he was recharging. The friendships, the laughter, the movement, the passion, those were his power sources. And his battery never ran dry. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Road trips turned into reports. Basketball into boardrooms. Pizza debates into late-night emails. And his smile faded into exhaustion. He couldn't be 19 again. He knew that. But maybe, just maybe, he could remember what kept him alive in the first place. Because phones were made to recharge. And so were we.
The subway rattled beneath New York, a tunnel of noise carrying tired people home. Ethan leaned against the wall, earbuds in, but no music playing. His thoughts were louder than any playlist. Across from him sat an older woman, silver hair under a knit cap, a tote bag full of sketches and colored pencils. She caught his weary look and smiled. "Long day?" she asked. Ethan laughed softly. "You could say that. You look like a man running on low battery." Her words caught him off guard. But then she pulled out a notepad, doodles, quotes, bright scribbles. "I treat my day like charging cycles," she said. "Morning walks fill me up. Drawing is like plugging into the wall. Talking to strangers," she winked. "That's my fast charger." Ethan smiled for the first time in hours. "Does that really work?" She nodded without hesitation. "Better than caffeine. You have to figure out what charges you. Everyone's different. Life is too short to stay in low power mode." Then she flipped to a page in her notebook, words written in big, uneven letters. "Check your bars. Don't wait until 1% to recharge." She tore the page and pressed it into his hand. "Here. Don't ignore your battery." Moments later, the train screeched to a stop. She stood, smiled, and disappeared into the night. Ethan stared at the note. The train carried him forward, but his mind felt lighter. Maybe recharging wasn't about one big solution. Maybe it was about the small things. A walk. A laugh. A moment of stillness. He folded the note, placed it in his pocket, and whispered to himself. "Don't wait for 1%.
It had been months, maybe a year, since Ethan last saw the inside of a gym. His sneakers had been buried in the back of the closet, gym bag collecting dust. But that note from the subway still echoed in his mind, "Check your bars. Don't wait until 1% to recharge." So on a Saturday morning, he walked through those gym doors. The smell hit first: rubber, disinfectant, sweat. The sound of dumbbells thudding, machines clanging, music pulsing. Everyone locked in, recharging in their own way. At the front desk, the trainer grinned. Well, Carter's back. Thought we lost you?" Ethan smiled. "Just trying to recharge." The trainer laughed. "Recharge? Buddy, you're like one of those old phones, loses battery in 10 minutes. Ethan shook his head, chuckling. "Yeah, exactly." He started slow. A light jog on the treadmill. Already sweating. Muscles stiff, lungs protesting. But then, something shifted. Every drop of sweat, every deep breath, it didn't drain him. It fueled him. Moving wasn't emptying his tank. It was filling it. The trainer walked by, smirking. "Careful, man. Don't overheat the system. Even phones shut down when you run too many apps." Ethan laughed between gasps of breath. He got it. Overloading burns you out. But the right current, The right kind of work builds you up. By the end of the workout, his body was sore, but his spirit recharged. Sitting on the bench, heart racing, sweat dripping, Ethan realized he wasn't running at 10% anymore. He looked around. Everyone was charging. Each rep, each stride, each stretch, a way of plugging back in. And Ethan understood something important. Not all chargers are outlets. Some chargers are actions. That week, Ethan finally climbed the steps of his parents' house. He hadn't been there in months. Work had taken over, deadlines replacing dinners, emails replacing conversations. But tonight felt different. The door opened. His mom's smile lit up the porch. "Ethan. Finally. We thought you forgot where we live." Inside, the smell of roasted chicken and garlic butter filled the air. The table was set, food steaming, laughter already waiting. At first, it felt strange, almost unfamiliar. But as the plates filled and conversations spilled, something inside Ethan clicked. His dad told old stories, his sister rolled her eyes and laughed, his mom fussed over him like always. The sound of their laughter, unpolished, real, messy, was the kind of music no playlist could match. And Ethan realized something. This was another charger. Here, no one cared about his title. No one asked about his inbox. No one measured his worth by deadlines. They just wanted him present. Halfway through, his sister looked up from her phone. "Wow. Look who remembered he has a family." Ethan laughed, shaking his head. Guilty. But inside, his battery wasn't draining anymore. It was filling. With every laugh, every story, every bite of warm food, he felt something he hadn't felt in months. Full. Later, when the night ended, his mom pressed leftovers into his hands. "Don't wait so long next time," she said softly. "This house is your charger too." Driving home, Ethan looked at the container of food on the seat beside him. Gentle, reflective tone. All this time, he thought recharging meant escaping. Running away. Finding energy somewhere far, somewhere new. But sometimes, it was right here. In simple meals, simple moments, with people who remind you who you are. And with a smile, Ethan whispered to himself. Family is a charger you can't download. One weekend, Ethan left his phone behind. No notifications. No buzzing. No endless scroll. Just a backpack, a trail, and the sound of his own footsteps. At first, it felt strange. Too quiet. Too still. But slowly, the forest began to speak. Birds calling overhead. Branches whispering in the wind. Sunlight spilling through the leaves like stained glass. He inhaled deeply. And for the first time in weeks, maybe months, his lungs felt full. His shoulders softened. His stride loosened. The city fell away. The noise, the rush, the pressure, all gone. And at the top of the trail, a clearing opened up. Rolling hills stretched into forever. The horizon burned gold under the setting sun. Ethan sat down. No rushing. No screens. No multitasking. Just stillness. And he realized something. Nature wasn't background scenery. It was a charger. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of space to breathe, to reset, to remember. Gentle pause. Sometimes, the strongest charge doesn't come from plugging in. It comes from unplugging. When Ethan stood to leave, his battery, the one that mattered, wasn't at 10% anymore. It was steady. Strong. Full. And driving home, he didn't even reach for his phone. He didn't need to. Because for the first time in a long time, his bars were glowing green.